I'm Ethan Boffman. I'm a board certified plastic surgeon and a FAA certified commercial pilot. And I wanted to review this book that I was given for Christmas. It's a Smithsonian aircraft, the definitive visual history. And I think this book will find appeal among pilots. And so I wanted to review it for pilots. And so this book, it is very extensive, and it kind of starts with the Wright brothers with a brief history, and then in the table of contents it goes through each decade. And I was very pleased with this book. It is not biased towards any particular make or model of airplane, and it includes a thorough photographic history of all different makes and models of airplanes. It even starts with the lighter than air. You know, if you're into the dirigibles and the balloons, and it's very interesting. Talks about a couple of key inventors and the spread of knowledge of the heavier than air flight. And I think my wife was looking for a book that kind of focused on the history of Beechcraft aircraft, because she knew that I was particularly interested in Beechcraft aircraft as they were manufactured in a factory in Wichita, Kansas, near where my father grew up. And we still have some family that lives in Wichita. But this book, it does cover the history of Beechcraft, and as well as hits on all the other aircraft. There are at least 3 models of Beechcraft Bonanza that are listed in this book, and it lists all the specifications of those aircraft and other ones in the market that were relevant to the context of the aircraft. And I think what's really neat about this book is it shows the growing, evolving different aircraft and how they change from all being tailwheel, radial engine, fabric design airfoils to becoming tricycle gear with horizontally opposed piston engines that are all metal, and that is exactly where Beechcraft comes into play with their production of the Beechcraft Bonanza 1947, which is still in continuous production, which is pretty amazing. The longest continuous production aircraft. And a Baron is just a modification of the Bonanza that kind of came through the Twin Bonanza and Travel Air. And so all that is described here. And other models, you know, military and civilian both, are described in this book. And I'll just kind of show you, for example, in the 1940s, in the bomber section, it has everyone's favorite aircraft there. Really, I think you could have any particular interest in aviation, and you will be able to find, your B-25 Mitchell or your J-3 Cub. You're gonna, if you have a name brand airplane in mind, like, this is the book to get for that pilot. And so it's a great book, and it's a great book to have on your coffee table or in your office or in a reception area. I would be thrilled if I sat down in a hotel and I looked on a coffee table and I found this book, because you can spend time looking through it, and that's fun. And so other models of note that I found in here that I found interesting were the airplane that was flown by Amelia Earhart, the Electra, and the King Airs. There's at least 3 King Air models in here, and it goes into and I learned something from this book. I learned that the Burt Rutan aircraft designer, very famous aircraft designer. He created a company that was later purchased by Beechcraft that led to the production of the Starship. And I did not realize that, but I did notice that the Beechcraft Starship was such a departure from all the other previous models that it makes sense that, you know, you needed a really out-of-the-box thinker to come up with a pusher with a canard design. And so it's a book that will teach you something, regardless of where you're coming from. You'll learn something, and it also has little highlights where they look at a manufacturer like Grumman, which has a deep history, you know, in space exploration, and or Piper, and they just do a little featurette on it, and they also, you know, look towards the future, and, you know, alternative fuel airplanes, and it's great. And I think they kind of put airplanes together like in a class so that you can see everything that is relevant to that class. You know, they've got the TBMs and the Citations and the Gulfstreams all together, so you can see, you know, as aviation has changed and shifted and become more advanced, you see, you know, who are the relevant players. You know, you've got the F-22, and then you've got the unmanned aircraft underneath it. And that is where we're headed, it seems. So anyway, that is my thoughts. The book is Smithsonian, A Visual Aircraft History, and it is available for $40. And it also comes with 2 prints of an aircraft, and I don't know if you get a different print for each book. It's kind of like a Happy Meal where you might get lucky and you get the one that you want. And I think these ones are good. I'm very pleased with the F-15 and the Spartan Executive, because I think, you know, each of these are landmark aircraft. So, but I'm curious about that. So I don't know if you get a different airplane, but that you might get lucky. You might get something, and you could use it as a trading card, a token, a chip. You know, if you go to the airport, if you happen to know some guys at the airport, like I do, you might be able to trade those cards for something else. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the Smithsonian Visual Aircraft History. Check it out.